Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Calm Marble Podcast.
Fucking calm.
I am calm. Can't you tell?
I've lost my fucking marbles.
I'm his marbles.
Hi, marbles. I'm losing mine.
I'm calm.
Hi, Calm.
Hi, calm. Now that we've got names out of the way, what's going on?
We're talking about stuff on our podcast, Complimentary Mania.
There's no way.
We're actually talking about things?
Don't we normally do that?
No?
Last episode was kind of a fever dream. It felt like we didn't talk about things and we more so lost our marbles.
Oh,
Hence
This is
why
actually
this
trailing-
is the Calm Marbles
Mhm.
episode.
We're
we're
recollecting
trying
them.
to recollect our
Lost.
forgotten and
Yeah,
lost
this is the sequel
marbles.
to that episode where I collectively lost mine.
No, the sequel episode was episode 2.
Right, but this
Yeah.
is the other sequel. This is the sequel episode.
No, that was episode 3.
Yeah. Wait, then,
Okay, can we take an episode randomly? Just say one of our normal episodes, not one of the documentary ones, and just call it the sequel times like 38 episode. But don't put times, just put the sequel.
Okay, we
my
get it.
brother
You-
and Christmas were already at the 30s.
Do you think they have a character limit? I haven't checked.
I think they
I
probably
usually do the uploads.
We
I
should
don't remember them
We
having
should try to
one.
test the character limit out by just having one episode title just be like some Cthulhu script that goes on forever.
Oh yes, what's your favorite episode of the podcast? Yeah,
I bet that sounded
It's like
pleasant to the people at
150
home.
characters.
So, speaking of topics and trying to collect our
Speaking
marbles,
of stuff that
All
we're
right.
talking
What's-
about.
So the first topic today
That's
is
what we
going
do
to
on
be
a
the one
podcast.
that's probably going to apply to the most people. It's going to be the reason anyone clicked on this episode. It's going to be the reason anyone's excited for this year, because coming in 2025 is the
this economy?
much-awaited sequel. Thank you, Spence. Very cool.
Coming in this
Is the
economy.
much-awaited sequel to indie game that took the world by storm, Slay the Spire. Slay
It's
the
getting
Spire
a
2 's
2.
coming out. Yeah,
It has its own sequel episode coming out.
so
it does.
That's wild.
We were actually on topic.
I know.
Look at us go. It is the sequel episode. We're talking about a sequel.
Try to stay on topic. Challenge level impossible.
So, Tommy, care to explain Slay the Spire to the people at home that may not know?
Okay, so Slay the Spire is a roguelike deck builder with the idea behind it, and this is a quote from the creator, being that he really liked building degenerate decks in games like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh!, but didn't like subjecting other people to that torment.
So it's like, what if we
So-
did this but single player?
So he wanted to make a game where you could build a deck and fight against monsters so that, other people didn't have to suffer through your degenerate combo.
The monsters would take on all the beating.
Yeah,
So
or
you're-
beat you.
So you're made to
That
go
happens
through
a
and
lot.
make combos?
Well, not exactly, but you are meant to kind of break the game, which is why there are cards that would get banned in a competitive environment.
Such as?
Clothesline.
So the game, like most card games, has 2 resource systems attached to it. There's the cards in your hand and the energy pool you have. Energy is how you play the cards, and you have to have cards to play them, obviously. So there are cards that give you both cards and energy, which would be the equivalent of a Black Lotus that also drew 3 cards in Magic the Gathering terms.
It'd be like worse Ancestral
Or-
Recall.
Or like a Pot of Greed that gave you an extra summon this turn in Yu-Gi-Oh terms.
That's not how
Yeah.
summons work in Yu-Gi-Oh, but I
it
get
could
ya.
be.
But it could be.
So it's like there are just cards like that in the game, and you're meant to kind of go through it and break it, The sequel's coming out. It's hype as fuck. They've got a kind of newish art style. They've got animations for most of the cards
Dude, the
based on
teaser
the
trailer you showed me went fucking hard.
It's pretty
the art's
great.
great.
It's pretty great.
Wait, there's a teaser trailer for it already?
Yeah, there's a teaser
it's been out for a little
trailer
while.
and
Well-
a gameplay trailer.
Didn't it come out last year? Something like
Ish.
about this time last year, I believe.
Well, I think it came out like late last year, and we're not at the halfway mark, but I don't know for sure. Regardless, it's hype. Game's a lot of fun. And I wanted to talk about two fan theories of mine, as well as just reminisce over the general funness that is that beloved indie game. So, in the much awaited sequel, I want to say something that might be a bit controversial, might be a hot take.
Oh, we don't do those here.
But late
Oh yeah.
But
No.
late into Slay the Spire, they released a hidden fourth character called the Watcher.
Not a character in my eyes.
And I kind of hate the Watcher.
She's not part of the club.
Hot take, I kind of hate the Watcher. And most of the community feels the same because there is a way to like pseudo go infinite with her. A lot of top players will do that, but also she's just kind of not great. All of her cards are way more busted than the other characters are. So the general reception to her was either I don't like her because she's too strong, or I don't like her because like she breaks the game balance.
Also, each character kind of reflects a card type, and that kind of embodies the way they play. She doesn't have one. Like the Ironclad's based around attacks.
Right.
The Silence based around skills.
Right.
The Defect is based around powers.
Right.
It'll be a little kind of too strong. But what does she have? She has the states.
Stances.
Stances. Sorry. I forget about it. I try and push her manually out of my mind.
Go through these powers, skills versus attacks for people who don't know.
Okay. So attacks, basically the way you deal damage, the way you are
Pretty
killing
self-explanatory.
stuff. You can deal damage through skills and powers, but attacks are the most direct and easy way to do it. They'll say things like, deal 6 damage. You target something, bam, 6 damage to the face. Now, skills have the most variety in things that they can do. So they can draw you cards, they'll make you block, they'll sometimes give you energy on different turns, sometimes they'll put cards in your hands, which, to be fair, attacks can do, but usually skills do better.
It's wild because I actually think powers do the most by far.
No, powers do the most, but skills are the most versatile.
There are powers that do kind of everything.
But you can only play them and then you don't get them back. Powers, by the way, they're a card type that you just play, and it's a static effect you have for the rest of the battle. That card doesn't get cycled back into your deck. And when you empty out your hand or you empty out your deck and it reshuffles, it will not end up back in your hand. You cannot redraw powers.
It has this ability, what it's called exhaust, which basically
Actually,
once
powers
Don't exhaust.
I thought it did.
They
Nope.
just trigger,
They
and then
just-
that's it.
They just sort of attach to your character.
Think of like equipment in
Yeah.
Magic, but if
Yeah.
it stopped existing as a permanent.
More like
after it went out.
auras.
Yeah, that's better.
Better. Yep.
No, exhaust is a different thing. That's Ironclad's shtick.
It's cards that you can only play once, and once
Mm.
you play them, they disappear until the end of the round.
Yes.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about the Watcher, because they added the Watcher really, really late into Slay the Spire 1's existence, and she's wildly unpopular.
It makes me really sad that we saw that release and everyone got very hyped for it. Like, I remember being very excited about it.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just I kind of cut you off there, but I wanted to kind of explain. Everyone was excited about this character before they actually made it in the game. Like, everyone was like, dude, new character, new stuff to interact with, and this was, after a drought of not a lot of added content because the game was already good. It was already polished and finished, but they added even more, and then we got it.
Yeah, and the
All
thing
its glory.
the thing about the Watcher too is it actually makes some parts of the game worse. Like, there are two things that I think of when I think of things the Watcher ruined, and that would be the prismatic
Shard.
Yeah, Shard, the Chimera custom game. The Chimera custom game means you can pick cards from any character when you're picking cards. It's under custom game settings. And the Prismatic Shard is an in-game relic, which are kind of like permanent buffs your character picks up, that does the same thing. It lets your character pick from any character's deck when picking new
Mhm.
cards. And the Watcher just kind of ruined that, because instead of it being 3 and kind of vaguely balanced with one another, it's just 4 now. And the Watcher's mechanics are also like...
So isolated from the others. They don't mesh well.
That's right.
Also, to add on to your point, another thing that pisses me off, all the characters, like, kind of have their own ending / bit that they apply to the plot itself. Like, when you collect the keys to go for the secret ending, there's 3. They apply to the 3 main characters.
Yeah, that's
and then the
because-
Watcher's just like there.
Well, the Watcher, that's an intentional decision on the part of the developers, because the Watcher isn't one of the spire climbers. She's there to observe. That's why she's not on the door. She's not a quester, she's a Watcher.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to talk about the Watcher
So-
theory I have.
Okay.
Because we've seen the promotional material for the game. We've seen all 4 playable characters, and notably, 2 characters are missing, and these are the 2 fan theories I wanted to talk about. The Watcher and the Defect seem to be missing.
No, he's not my boy.
We'll talk about the Defect later.
Oh.
We're on the topic of the Watcher.
I know.
Stay on plot.
Okay.
So, Watcher isn't in any of the promotional material, hasn't been referenced at all. Now, I want to say, spoiler alert for a game many years old. You should really play it before.
You can get it on mobile. I think it's like $6.
It's 10.
It's 10 now.
I think it's either 10
If
or
so,
$7.99.
inflation's a bitch because I got it for 6.
Anyway,
In this
spoiler
economy.
warning is in. Spoiler warning is in. Moving on. The Watcher has an ending to the game which is mildly unique from all the other characters, because the Silent, the Defect, and the Ironclad all escape the Spire when you beat the heart. The Watcher doesn't. She's
Jams her
engulfed in
staff.
purple flames, and she jams her staff into the top of the tower. So I think the Watcher's actually going to be one of the last bosses you fight. Maybe she replaces the sword and shield. The shield and spear mini boss before you fight the heart. Maybe she's the new heart, or maybe she's the new Niao, and Niao is the new heart.
I don't want Neo to be the next heart. I don't want to kill my whale boy.
Well, I mean, he's kind of resurrecting you and sending you through purgatory torture.
It
Like,
is
he's
kind of like he's kind of terrible, but like I don't know. He seems like a chill guy.
He does seem pretty chill. I don't know what they're doing about that, but I do know that I think the Watcher will have something to do with either the end of the game or like giving the characters quests. And I wanted to bring up a specific endgame boss called the Time Eater, I think. Is it
the
Yeah.
big slug man that
Yeah.
makes you end your turn after every 12th card?
Yep.
That's right. He has a unique line of dialogue when you reach the Watcher with him. Did you guys know that?
I have not played through the Spire.
I don't play the
as
Watcher.
Okay.
I don't like her.
So
no.
the Watcher has a unique interaction with the Time Eater. Only the Watcher can get this unique line of dialogue from him. And he says in a little comic bubble, "I've never liked you," implying they have history. And the Watcher's robes match the Watcher's. Sorry. The Time Eater's robes match the color on the Watcher's robes. And the Watcher is in the Spire looking for someone from her order of monks, which went
Right.
missing.
So you think they're associated? Maybe the Time Eater is like some original member that's been twisted and warped by the Spire's effects, especially because they are found in Act 3, The Beyond, which has mind-twisting properties. According to that event, the Twisting Madness one, where you have to go down pathways and it like eats away at you. The Time Eater could have became itself after encountering multiple instances of that same event.
Well, I mean, the Watcher did go looking for someone missing from her monastery, so it could be the person she was looking for.
That's the theory I'm guessing.
And in addition to that, the Watcher could replace the Time Eater as an endgame boss, creating a kind of cyclical storytelling there.
It's also cyclical because, in a sort of funny sense, the community is beating the shit out of the thing they hated very much so,
Yeah.
which would be poggers.
Sorry, did you guys have any more thoughts on the Watcher?
No, I added
No.
what I wanted to.
Do you how do you guys like that theory? You think it's airtight? You think I'm projecting a little bit?
I think it's really cool. I don't think it changes the way I feel about the Watcher.
Well, probably not. is there any plausibility in it being like an end-game boss or like an NPC of
The
some
fact
kind?
I didn't know that about Time Eater. That's very cool that there's that specific line of text,
Mhm.
and you explaining that makes a lot of sense. I did kind of wish like the ending would give a little bit more insight as to like what she's specifically trying to do, because I mean, if she's there to figure things out about what happened to the monks of her old monastery, why does she just go on top and go with her epic stick?
Well, she enters the divinity stance before she does that. That's why I think she's going to replace a boss of some kind.
That's fair, but is she really succeeding in her objective? Like, what if she doesn't encounter Time Eater? Maybe the ending always assumes that during that run you met Time Eater at some point,
Perhaps that's the canonical ending.
and then her idea is like, my mission's complete. I found one of them, and then she can enter Divinity Stance for whatever reason.
Her cards let her do that.
Eh.
Yeah, maybe. It's hard to guess. I just know that she's the only one who doesn't leave the tower in her ending, and I think there's going to be something that has to do with her in the top levels of the tower. And it might have something to do with Time Eater.
Doesn't the defect technically not leave?
The defect leaves.
His feels much more vague than the other two's. I mean, like, you see him stepping out, but the last thing you see are his eyes, like, glowing bright blue
Mm-hmm.
in, like, an ominous void.
And then you get a bunch of code popping up on screen. Yeah. I actually wanted to talk about the defect next. So the defect
My
is a
boy.
He's
character.
my favorite.
He was
Yep.
added second to last in the game, right before the Watcher, right after the Silent, I think.
Yes.
Or
I'm pretty
were
sure the Silent and the
Ironclad-
Ironclad were there on drop.
Okay, the Silent and the Ironclad were there on drop. The defect is like the first patch character, and then years later they added the Watcher. So the defect is pretty fun because there's a kind of 3 core classes system in the 3 main characters of the game: the Silent, the Ironclad, and the defect. Whereas the Silent and the Ironclad are obviously like analogs to the Rogue and the Warrior, with interesting twists in the sense that the Rogue has like an animal skull on her head and uses like fun poisons and shit. And the Ironclad is half demon
Yeah,
and
and
breathes
he, like,
fire.
utilizes demonic energies and stuff, and
Right.
the flavor of exhaust and strength.
The twist they gave to the third quintessential RPG class, the twist they gave to the third one, the mage, the caster, is they decided to make him into a robot.
Robo bitch.
He is like a construct of the Spire who gained sentience and went crazy trying to escape it because Niao kept resurrecting him.
Mm-hmm.
So when you beat the game with him, he gets sentience and he like unlocks himself, and we see him like leaving the Spire with like code flashing up on screen. It even like breaks the fourth wall in a way none of the other endings do, where it will actually like flash the code across the continue screen you get when you beat the game with him,
Mm-hmm.
which I always thought was cool because it feels like he's trying to break out of the game.
He's like, holy shit, I gotta get out of this pit.
So my theory for him, because we haven't seen the defect, or at least the developer of the game is constantly teasing that we haven't seen the defect. I think we have.
It's that guy in the throne.
It's that guy on the throne. There's a fourth question mark playable character. And he's this like golden JoJo robot looking character sitting on a throne, and he's got like pronged metal helmet horn things where his face should be. And
He just looks too much like the defect, based
like
off of parts of his silhouette.
he's like snapping his fingers, and there's like a flicker of light above them. And I'm pretty sure that's the defect, but he's going to be called like the perfect.
It would be so... Dude, a moody, egotistical defect sitting on a throne sounds like it would go so hard. We don't know that for sure, but I'm excited for that.
I'm pretty sure that that's the defect, and he's just built a new body for himself. Because one of the in-game events that got teased in the teaser trailer shows the defect's old body.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh man, my favorite character got turned into an
My
event."
boy bit the dust. Oh,
No,
great heavens.
I think you unlock him the way you unlock the Watcher when you like scale the Spire with each of the 3 characters.
Mhm.
And I think since the defect is like outside the simulation, as it were, he's the unlockable character and not the story essential character in this game. And I just think that the weird robotic question mark character is way too similar to him to be anything else. And like his whole like card kit was about like self-improvement and self-repair. So I think he like perfected himself and left his old body behind. And that's what the event
I
is.
really hope that's the case. The defect's my favorite character, straight up. I know you guys won't agree with that.
No, I
He's
agree.
my boy, my sweet, sweet baby boy.
I mean, most of the characters are good.
They're all good. All
Except
three
the
of them.
Watcher.
All three of them.
But hey, it would be really cool if, like, after all the community hate, they decided to, in a self-aware move, and in a story-related move, make the Watcher into an endgame boss.
That'd be pretty cool.
So
I'd
fun.
like that.
Especially if the Watcher, like, flipped through stances while you're fighting her.
That'd be pretty neat. Should she be, like, the equivalent of the Heart? Or should she be, like, an Act 3 kind of boss?
I think she's an Act 3 boss. I think she's, like, with the Awakened one. Maybe she replaces the Time Eater. Maybe she replaces Donu and Dekka.
I feel like she replaces Time Eater, dude. It'd be so cool.
I do hope there's a replacement for Donu and Dekka, because those two did feel like we're out of ideas for endgame boss.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is they feel almost too iconic. Like, I mean, I'm not saying they should use them in the next one, but like, they somehow stuck despite how simplistic they are.
They did. They're very goofy, and they're very Slay the Spire aesthetic.
Yeah, they feel like they're part of the game. I feel like the game would be incomplete without them being included.
Spence, are you looking at the screenshot of the defect or the perfect?
Blood is filling himself in.
So, while you all were talking there, I read up on and watched the actual gameplay trailer. I don't think the guy on the throne is the defect.
Really?
Don't
Why
tell
not?
me that.
I don't think it is.
I'm gonna rip you apart.
I think it's closer related to, you remember in the first act, one of the elites encounters is those three like pyramid type things.
Yeah.
I don't
You're
remember what
talking
they're
about
called.
the Sentinels?
Yes.
Yeah, the Sentinels.
I think it's something related to those.
Well, the defect is related to those.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
He's
but
like I mean, his faceplate, his eyes, everything, they're very similar in construction to the drones.
similar, but not quite.
That and the bronze construct. I had to look that up. It's not brass contraption. I'm just a dingus and related that to like D&D or something.
But I don't think it's going to be the defect. And I don't think it's going to play like the defect. That being said, I think it's going to be another thing from the Spire, kind of like how the defect is. I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I don't know how exactly.
So what you're saying is it's still technically the defect. It's just another version. It's not the same guy, but it's another droid.
Watch, it's just.
It's his brother Jimmy. He's like also a droid.
And also he looks very fancy and posh. So instead of the defect, he's the prefect.
The prefect. I liked the perfect better, and the idea that he like perfected himself. But yeah, I think that
it's gotta be him, bro. I'd be really sad if it wasn't.
Do we want to take this moment to talk about the new character class, the Necrobinder?
Of course.
It
looks cool as fuck.
There's a necromancer with a giant pet
He's
skeleton
got a little
hand.
like a doggy hand.
Interestingly enough, he fixes the game design problem you were talking about with the Watcher, because one of the gimmicks of the sequel is there are like in-game events that let you permanently like change your card pool.
Mm-hmm.
And he's built around that. That's his class mechanic, is changing his cards permanently.
Ah, so he's transformed the guy.
Kind of. But like it's like modifiers to the cards. Like when you play this, it deals 2 damage to a random
so he does.
enemy.
It's not quite upgrading. It's like side grading. It's like I add this little effect.
That's right.
That's cool as fuck.
Whereas the Silent is built around skills and the Ironclad is built around attacks, he's built around
modifying
modifications. And this new defect, perfect, prefect, other Spire Sentinel dude is probably going to still be the Powers character.
I mean, someone's got to build that void.
For sure. All right. Do we want to move on?
Can if you want. What's the name of the Necrobinder's little doggy hand?
Oh, the new character. He's like got a skeletal hand. I think it's Chauncey. Can you look that up? Can you
Chauncey.
fact check that, Jamie? Jamie,
Jamie,
pull that up.
up.
So, upon further research, I have found that the Necrobinder, he calls upon his trusty left hand, Otzi. O-S-T-Y.
Otzi. Hey, you were
Otzi.
kind of close.
I
Otzi,
was-
Chauncey.
I was rhyming.
I said you were kind of close.
You got me.
On Skibbity.
But yeah, he looks like an interesting
How
new
does
character.
prioritization work with attacks?
I think guys will always target the hand first.
Okay.
Um,
Unless they have like an AoE.
but,
Because they
like,
might have that.
if the hand dies, maybe it's dead for the floor, and it like reses.
That yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I don't think it has a large
To be fair,
hit
the
point
Necro
pool.
the Necrobinder has like 35
hit
HP.
points.
He's got like half of the lowest character in Slay the Spire 1.
Yeah.
Doesn't the Silent start off with like 70?
I'm gonna put feed in a letter for from myself in the wall for the Necrobinder run.
Good idea. Maybe feed won't be a thing. Who knows? That'd be sad.
Maybe there won't be vampires in the Spire this time. No, you know what I
My
like?
beloved.
Jet.
Hand of Greed.
Jax.
Jax.
Jax is
Uh,
pretty cool.
Do you take his card? Do you get Jaxed, or do you transform a card?
I
I take the
I take the card.
mutagenics
You take the mutagenics
every time.
every time.
Pretty much.
I take the card a lot.
Okay, my problem with the card is it loses me HP. So unless well, no, is it just an Ironclad event? I'm pretty sure.
No,
Okay, unless I'm playing the Ironclad, I don't take the card because it makes you lose HP. And when you're playing characters that don't get HP back very easily, it really sucks. Unless you pick up Blood Vial or like another relic that helps you heal. Then it's like, I can take Jax and be okay. But playing a card that repeatedly hurts yourself and it's set up, it's tough. Because at least Hemokinesis is like, here, take 2 damage, deal 18. And then you just shit on everything.
yeah, I have no idea what the fuck's going on with the hand. In one screenshot, it has 35 health, and another, it has 5.
yeah.
I don't know.
So
We'll figure that
I
out.
don't
when
I don't
it
think it's
comes.
going to die for the entire floor, but I think each combat it'll respawn. But it doesn't look like it has a large hit point pool. But there may be something where you can just beef up that hand.
Maybe it's tied to a card.
Maybe it's block. Maybe like whenever he would gain block, instead he generates hand HP,
Ugh.
and like the hand attacks
Ugh,
people every
brother.
turn.
That's
what's
weird.
that?
That's kind of cool, though. I'm really excited to see what comes out of it.
He might be my new favorite character.
Now, Slay the Spire 2 is supposed to come out later this year, correct?
Do we have a specific date?
No.
The date is this year.
We don't have
Ah.
a specific time. We just have this year.
But keep an eye out.
We might do a review. Let us know if you'd be interested. Anyway,
I mean, we already make movie reviews.
Yeah,
We're
but
already basically a movie review podcast.
we can't bring that attitude over because all the movies we review are typically kind of shit.
why don't we review a good movie again sometime?
Yeah,
like we reviewed
like
Shrek,
Shrek
2.
2.
Yeah.
That went hard as fuck. And we have Spanko here now. We've
Hey.
only reviewed shitty movies with Spinko.
There's a new Edgar Wright movie coming out this year that I'm gonna see in theaters. You guys want to watch it?
Sure.
Which one's that?
I don't know.
What's Edgar Wright?
He's the guy who did Hot Fuzz.
Oh.
Well, I certainly wouldn't want to see as Edgar Wrongs.
That's a joke that was made in a Netflix animated series, and you should feel bad. Anyway, Spence, you wanted to bring back traffic proximity chat?
Bro,
Okay, so let me set
isn't
the
that
stage.
still a thing on semi-trucks?
Let me set the stage for
If
you.
I want proximity chat in traffic, I just roll the window down and start bellowing.
It's the 70s, okay? There are things.
I mean, you remember that quite vividly, don't you?
Yes. Anyway,
Old fucking man.
CB radios, most commonly found in semi-trucks nowadays, were very popular back in the
CB's
70s,
nuts.
80s, 60s, etc. People had them in their trucks, cars, everything, in between here and there. And the thing is, they are shortwave, which means that they're only like a couple miles out, but you can talk to people within those few miles. I'm suggesting that we bring back the popularity of CB radios and have it like a proximity chat like you would in a Call of Duty lobby.
I feel like people would troll too often. Like,
I'd rage
someone-
bait so many people, and then
It
I'd
would
just
be-
get hit and die.
Trevor, you would have the Hawk Tua song playing on loop through
no
your
more
proximity.
dirty potties, got oil on my body. You can just ear rape literally everyone around you and make them crash. It wouldn't be a good idea in this modern age. How do
See-
insurance claims go? Oh, he was distracting the driver. Oh yeah, where's the proof? And then they pull up the clip. No more dirty potties, got oil on my body.
CB radios are notorious for what, Spence? Please continue.
For not being able to be moderated.
It's like how
it's
COD used to be.
It's literally
Used to
like
be.
called the free radio, kind of like how ham radio is,
Mhm.
because it can't be moderated because nobody can just like cut things and whatnot. So
I mean,
it
cars
would-
are already listening in on us.
it would be legitimately like old school Call of Duty lobbies. No moderation, man eat man. You're probably going to be called at least 5 slurs on your way to work.
I
Here's
guess
my
I'm not
problem.
being sold very well on this. Like, why do I want this to happen? Why is this a good thing?
Okay, here's the problem. One, I'm gonna get real. Cars already cost way too much. It's mainly because they're putting way too much shit in them. This only exacerbates that same issue. Sure, they could maybe pedal it back and maybe, shorten the fucking iPad and the center console a couple inches. But I feel like it's an inclusion that won't work because it's either not a safety regulated feature or it's a feature that they can charge you a subscription on. Maybe they could if that's the case and you might have something, but then you're going to have to pay a subscription and that's sucky.
So
Or
you're-
they can't listen in on you secretly and steal your data to sell to advertisers, which is a thing that actual cars are doing now. Modern vehicles. They're listening into people while they're talking and selling that information off without their knowledge.
okay. Just to answer your first argument there, CB radio, it can't be on a subscription, and you can literally go pick one up at the nearest gas station, QT, Quick Trip, etc.
Yeah,
or,
you
like,
could probably
truck
like
stops.
redneck it in, but you're talking about
No,
like
that's how it's always been. They are literally just a radio box with
No,
a
I-
microphone.
Spence. I get what you're saying. The problem is the statement you were making is you wish for it to be mainstream again. And most people in the mainstream aren't jacking like CB radios into the top of their vehicle.
I mean, but how many people aftermarket lights into their trucks and cars and whatnot?
Surprisingly not that many. But most people can't afford it nowadays.
It's only about $100 per radio.
Most Americans can't currently afford a $500 emergency payment.
Well, that's $500.
Yeah, but like a fifth of that's still a lot of money.
Broke bitches get good.
I'm sorry.
You're-
Do we want to
okay,
talk
I'm just
about your
saying-
finances
Yes.
on the podcast?
You know what?
Spence?
We're getting Caleb Hammer on this one. This is financial audit. Sir,
Bitch,
you
try
have
me.
$12,000 of outstanding credit card debt. What do you have to say about this? Slaps paper on desk.
Full disclosure,
I'm
Spencer,
role-playing right now.
podcast host, does not currently have $12,000 of outstanding credit card debt to the best of any of our knowledge.
Not even mine. I'd be surprised to know that.
I know, right?
Surprisingly enough, a lot of Americans think that way. They don't know they have it. It's just there.
No,
Much
I
like
know.
a growing termite problem.
I know exactly how much debt I have currently, and it's not 12,000.
It's $100 for that radio.
You got me. I put it on the credit card.
Put on the card, baby.
Put it on the plastic.
Okay, look.
Did you buy the radio, go into $100 of debt for it, and then hop on it and be like, God damn it, no one's using these things anymore. Fuck, what a waste of
Think if I
money.
yell loud enough, they'll hear it anyway. And then they just hear you through the window.
What was your call
Well,
sign?
Okay, the logic behind this is because a lot of people have you ever seen in the back of people's windows, they'll have those signs that you can light up and they'll program to like a waving thank you or a
No.
middle finger that says go fuck yourself.
They'll have stickers like that, but
I've
lights?
seen those.
The lights?
Yeah.
Interesting. I
It's
haven't.
literally like a box of light diodes, and it'll light up in different patterns.
Plenty of bumper stickers like that, but never a light show.
I specifically love the bumper stickers that read, "If you can read this, you're too close to my car."
Those are pretty good.
Those...
I saw one on a Honda Ridgeline. The sticker went along the lines of "Knowledge is important. Lifted Hondas are importanter," and it was a Honda with a lift kit.
I also saw one where it was a Hyundai logo, but it was just two dudes blowing each other.
Maybe it was just two dudes blowing each other.
What I've learned so far is Honda drivers be wildin'.
So no, those are different companies, Honda and Hyundai.
Yeah. Honda is like the Times New Roman H, and Hyundai is like the italicized H.
Aren't they both Japanese?
Yes.
Well, yes, but they're two different companies.
Lovely. I thought they were the same company and people
Nope.
were just
No.
being quirky with the pronunciation.
No.
No, they're completely
No.
different.
One makes
companies.
bombs on wheels. The other makes, well, Hondas.
I didn't know we were talking about Jeeps.
Well, those are different. We're getting to those. That might be this episode. That might be another one. I have some things
Come
I
back
need
for
to.
the Jeep episode, everyone.
I have some things I need to say about Jeeps.
Okay,
Make
so
me feel the same way
Anyway.
Best
Spence,
Buy
you
does.
still haven't sold me on proximity chat.
Okay.
Just
so,
go be a fucking semi driver. They're using them now.
You see, I don't want to drive a semi truck.
Okay, well,
Relatable though.
okay. You know what you do? You go on the fucking freeway in your car or truck or whatever you plan on driving, and you stick the box up on top of your fucking car or truck or whatever, and you speak to all the semi drivers out there because those are the only other motherfuckers using those things.
I thought you were just about to say put a megaphone on your fucking car.
You know
like
what?
the
That
Blues
might
Brothers.
be a more effective way of communicating with other fucking drivers on the road.
I mean, yes, but the thing is,
Don't iPhone users have that? Can't you just airdrop things to your fellow people who spent too much on phones?
You can. That is a feature. It's not exactly
guess
how do I
who's
put this?
defending this? The iPhone user.
yes, I have an iPhone.
Oh, wow.
I'm not saying I do it. We've talked about my car.
Wow.
My car doesn't even know what the internet is. My car was made when houses were affordable.
No, it
So
wasn't.
anyway,
it was in
you-
2012.
No, it's an 08.
Is it?
It's
it
an 08, you
I
dingus.
thought it was a 12.
It's an 08. That lovely
Okay.
rusty piece of fucking
Fun
shit.
fact: the
Yo.
internet was still around
Yo.
in 08.
Trevster.
The car didn't know. What, Tommy?
Your car
You
has
were
Bluetooth.
defending having an iPhone.
I'm not advising anyone to airdrop random garbage to people on the freeway. That's a terrible idea. It's much like just rage baiting over the radio.
I know, but that
They're gonna
sounds
make
fun.
someone they're gonna look at their like 14-inch iPad display in the middle of their Honda, and it's going to have like a picture of Zippo Cat on it, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, my
no.
god!" and then they're gonna wreck and die, and then they'll be Zippo Cat.
Rip Zippo Cat.
Rip Zippo Cat.
No exceptions.
We're gonna move on now.
Reference.
So, okay. So,
Yes.
I have a boat.
You got a boat.
In this economy?
Actually, in ancient Greece, but that's beside the point. I have a
you
boat.
You were there too?
It's a hypothetical, old man.
Did you have a boat?
Yes.
Nuh-uh. Anyways.
Remember, he had the boat and his special underpants.
Yeah.
My golden
You
underpants.
nasty, stinky fuck.
Hey, they were nostalgic.
Anyway, I have a boat.
I'm on a boat.
I use this boat to sail back and forth a lot. and
Indubitably.
as I do, I replace the boards on the boat as they get bad. And because I'm quite a frugal individual, while I go about replacing said boards,
Just like me for real.
I decide to keep those boards back. Waste not, want not, right?
Yes.
And one day I realize I have enough spare parts to build my own boat out of the spare parts.
Uh-huh.
So I have my boat, and then I have spare parts boat. Which boat was my boat?
Your original boat, the one you remade out of the old wood, is still the original. That being said, it would promptly sink because they're old and grody pieces of wood that will hold
It would
no
no longer
water.
be a ship if it was made of the original parts.
It's no longer a ship. It's now a coral reef settlement.
I think you don't understand the hypothetical. Spence.
No, I do.
The
I
ship of
understand.
Theseus.
I get the boat. I get the ship. I get the paradox.
Awesome. It's
But-
not presented exactly as a paradox.
I know.
Mhm.
But
However-
more as a question at to which point something becomes its own thing. Like if the boat was named like the SS Squidward, right?
Wow. Innovative today, aren't we?
And if I have enough spare SS Squidward parts, which of
then-
my two lovely vessels
And then
deserve the title SS Squidward?
and then the captain of the SS Squidward fails to notice the SpongeBob iceberg rolling up as it goes, "Hi, Squidward," and it promptly destroys it.
Anyway,
Basically, it would be whichever one you decided would be your ship.
that's fair. But we're bringing this paradox up because Trevor wanted to talk about it in terms of human body replacement.
Look, there was this funny little animation produced by none other than Flashgets of the Tech Bro guy, adding a bunch of pieces of machinery to his body, replacing his eyes and hands with shit developed by the Omnissiah. However, I wanted to take this to the greatest philosophical extents. We need to analyze this question here and now. How much robot can a man or woman be before they are not human?
99%.
What makes you say that, and what's the 0.1?
I didn't say 99.1%. I said
yeah,
99%.
Yeah, the exclusionary 0.1. You said 99.9.
I didn't. I said 99%.
1%. Shut up.
Hey, now.
I assume there was a decimal point at least.
I mean, any number has an implied decimal point. There's just a bunch of zeros after it.
Now you're doing math like a physicist.
Please don't.
Dark numbers.
Dark numbers.
Dark numbers.
Dark matter. Dark numbers. String theory.
Just add some
yarn
extra
theory.
numbers to accommodate for error. Those are called dark numbers. Anyways, what's the 1%?
Whatever percent you want, I suppose.
Why does it have to be 1%? Why can't it be 0.0001%?
I don't know. I think it's a pretty arbitrary line to draw, but I guess it's like
Like, what if there's a flake of skin left? Just a little flake.
it's kind of like parts per million, right? Like so many parts per million of any chemical compound will kill a human, and however many parts per million it is how we determine how toxic most chemicals are.
Mm-hmm.
I think, generally speaking, for someone to no longer be human, one of two criteria must be met. One of them is there's not a substantial amount of human left in them, and one of them is the philosophical loss of humanity.
Mm-hmm. A separation of consciousness needs to occur.
I don't think consciousness can be separated. Science hasn't proven or demonstrated any understanding of what creates the sensation we call consciousness, or any way to replicate it substantially. So, I think if you tried to put your brain in a robot, you would just kill yourself and create a shitty AI clone of yourself to live
Okay.
on,
First
I guess.
off,
It would be like
Absolute-
Soma.
Absolute tech bro hell, industrial society and its consequences. Second, what if, let's say, make a few examples. Let's talk about a man that is missing his arms and his legs. They are
Mhm.
replaced with titanium implants, replacements.
Still a human.
Still a human. What if
Always.
his entire torso has been replaced?
Still a human.
Okay.
Is RoboCop a human or a robot?
He's a
robot.
cyborg.
Ooh.
No. By these
We're
by these
disagreement.
arguments.
RoboCop still qualifies as human, yeah.
Because he's still got like a human brain in there.
He has, I think, 30% of his original brain.
I would argue that if a human still retains their brain, consciousness, and their
but he's
sense
not
of
quite
humanity,
himself.
they are still a human, no matter how many implements or modifications.
I guess
That's
they
why
are
I
made
said
onto them.
99%, right?
Yeah.
Like, so long as there's a substantial amount of human left, and so long as they still have some measurable amount of humanity, they're still a human, and ergo get all the rights humans do.
RoboCop, the majority of his brain has been taken up by robotics.
That's right, but he still displays humanity. Like, he can still make conscious decisions. He still cries because he's mostly robot now.
So the idea is human expression needs to be it's a qualitative part
That's right.
of the individual. If an individual can't feel,
like, technology keeps getting better and better and better. We can make synthetic hearts now. It stands to reason that in like 100 years, or maybe 10 years, we could make a synthetic brain, right? It stands to reason to me that we could at least have like some parts of the brain get replaced the way some organs do if we understand it fully enough, right?
right.
So I think it's like there needs to be a substantial recognizable amount of human left, and they need to have some essence of humanity, which at this point can't be measured, but I would measure as the expression of consciousness and free will.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is rough, because that means there are humans that don't qualify as human under that definition.
There are some soulless, terrible people out there.
Well, it's not just that, but there are also vegetables.
Yeah, like people in retirement homes.
People that are brain dead.
Well, yeah, people that are brain dead and like on machines, or people in like long-term comas.
So they don't quite qualify as people under those rules, which isn't right. But is it also wrong?
Technically,
I feel like we're crossing into an area we're really not supposed to here. But at the same time, we have to come to a conclusion.
I mean, so I think it's fair to define humanity differently on the basis of the situation, right?
We need the context to be available. So, like, when establishing whether or not a person is a person, depending on the consistency of their organic matter in comparison to inorganic, it's safe to make the assumption that a lack of human emotion and drive, what qualifies them in terms of their organic to inorganic matter, that only applies when we're observing them as robots, not as cripples.
Hear me out, though. What if someone who's like 97% robot falls into a coma? Then they lose their humanity card.
Yeah, but they can come back out of the coma.
Even though a human in that situation wouldn't.
Bro,
what if they come back?
All they have to do is just reinstall Windows 7.
Is it a coma that they are not coming back from?
We don't know. You can't know.
You can never tell.
I would not establish it until we knew for certain.
Like, the only way to get something like that is to see whether or not they're brain dead.
Yeah,
people don't doctors don't automatically make that assumption when they're in a coma unless they have quantifiable data to know that they will stay like that.
Well, yeah, it's impossible to know how long a coma is going to last. There are a lot of guesstimates they can make, and someone who's experienced terminal brain death loses their human rights. Like, flat out, their organs get harvested while they're still, like, technically alive, and then they're killed, and what's left of the body is provided to the family.
Right. Look.
Metal.
Terrible.
I mean, not for the person who got a free liver.
Oh, no, it's not free.
Wow, not for the person who paid for a liver.
It's the hospital that gets a free liver.
Also, the person paid with their life. So, at the very least, they're paying. Anyways.
There's no such thing as a free lunch. Someone died for that kidney you're eating, Trevor.
I prefer a liver diet. Thank you. Kidneys are disgusting.
I see. Sorry, Liver King. Moving on.
Yeah.
Pate?
My moniker now. Anyways.
The Liver King.
Someone that's confirmed brain dead, that's also a robot, could technically still be considered a robot, but a dysfunctional one, because I'm assuming that robot isn't operating without the 3% being alive.
Yeah,
unless it is operable, but if that's the case, then it's just a robot and it has some dead human matter attached to it.
It's weird. It's like, so long as none of the, like, obviously none of these questions matter if their brain is 100% organic, right?
Right.
Because, like, we obviously know that most of, if not all of our humanity is housed in the brain. So, like, if the brain is alive and experiencing stimuli and capable of, like, responding, then that's a human. even if it's a head in a jar
Mhm.
Futurama style, and even if the head is a robot head in a jar.
I think that's a fair
Vote for
assumption to make.
Nixon.
Yeah, if the brain is pure and unfazed, it's a human.
But I think
So long as the brain's alive.
Is that why they kept Walt Disney's brain in a jar?
that's a myth, probably, and yes.
They're gonna turn him into a robo bitch.
Um,
Dude, do you think they're gonna install a CB radio in him? That'd be crazy. Imagine getting rage baited by cyborg fucking
Walt
Disney.
I
That'd be
want-
crazy.
I want Jarhead Walt Disney to run for president, so Futurama can say they called it.
Did he in Futurama?
Diddy, no more Diddy party.
Shut
Got
up.
oil
Shut
on
the
my
fuck
body.
your mouth. No, they didn't call Disney would win the presidency in Futurama, but Nixon keeps winning. There's some term limit loophole.
Damn Nixon.
Ah, lore. Anyways,
Lore.
I think we got that figured out pretty well.
Yeah,
For
I
the
think
most part.
it
I-
just becomes a very sneaky AI discussion once
Mm.
you start talking about the brain being even partially
Yeah,
synthetic.
once you get digital memories and like imprintations into the brain through computers,
Yeah.
it's gonna become a much more complicated question. But for now,
Yeah,
we
because
have
like
pretty solid lines.
is a perfect replica of your brain and every response you could possibly make to any stimuli, is that life? Or is that just a copy of life? And if a copy of life doesn't count as life, do you not count as life because you're a partial copy of each of your parents?
Not quite, because by
It-
context clues alone, it would indicate that I was born through natural means and the clone of me was not. We would determine that by that state alone. They are a clone.
So, not being born through natural means strips you of some humanity. What about, like, artificial is it assimilation?
Assimilation.
Insemination.
Insemination.
And no, that
What about clone tubes?
Test tube babies, you mean?
So the artificial insemination, no, because that's still using like natural sperm to impregnate someone.
What if we have artificial wombs and perfect DNA
We're-
control?
Yeah, the problem is when the DNA
I mean,
isn't connected
technically,
to
they
any
kind of already
normal
have
human
that.
being, that's when it gets weird. But I don't think those people are quite stripped. They aren't created through mechanical means exactly. We're utilizing the basic building blocks of biology to create them.
What
We aren't using machines. They aren't robo bitches.
What if we use AI to make sure that everybody's DNA is perfectly exactly the same and create like a dozen of the exact same?
Okay, we're
people?
getting into the
We're
hypotheticals
in hell.
now.
Then we're in hell.
This is a hellscape. Everyone's a Barbie doll.
Yeah, we're
I think we have the technology to do that now, though, based
Don't
on
say
what I
that.
know about cloning sheep.
Gulp.
We could hypothetically create like several embryos of humans with the exact
Well, we could
same DNA,
hypothetically do a lot of things.
like nuke India.
Or Poland.
Would
Or you can
rather
eat a nice
nuke
bowl of
Poland
spaghetti.
or get a nice bowl
That's
of
a
spaghetti?
reference. Okay, we can move on. We're at
Okay,
the 1 hour
we'll
mark,
move on.
bro.
This is a very
Unedited.
complicated topic.
We can maybe lift this up later. Let's do this in a couple years when the great AI war happens.
I think this is definitely a question that's going to need to get answered sooner rather than later. And I really hate the idea that AI could ever achieve human rights because I don't think that that's exactly possible for AI to ever achieve the kind of humanness you would need. But at a certain point,
It could
whatever
get there.
qualification you put in front of it, you could create with the appropriate technology.
Eventually, the differences dissolve.
Exactly.
And it can simply assimilate into us like any other. You could see an AI walking down the street, and it looks like some guy. Maybe he's got like a favorite fucking cafe down the road, and his favorite game is crochet, and he goes to church every Sunday, and he's got a bunch of personality traits that make him look like a human, but he's actually a lizard underneath all the skin.
The second we get
Question.
big
Peel
titty,
your skin off.
the second we get big titty goth AI GFs,
Never mind.
we're extinct as a species.
I think we already lost as a species when someone's favorite game is crochet.
Yeah.
I meant to say croquet. I'm sorry.
Croquet.
Yeah.
Croquet.
I got kind of caught up in that thought.
My favorite game
My
is
favorite game
sewing.
is crochet. It's one of them. Peel your skin off, body.
What's our next topic, please?
Do you think that clip gets racist in like 30 years when
It's-
AI takes over?
It's weird because, like, if AI people become a second-class citizen, they would probably have a civil rights movement, right?
That's crazy. Fucking unions of AI workers. Can we move on?
The world gets really dystopian with even the smallest push in the direction that we're actively heading. Anyway,
what's the
let's
next
talk
topic?
about Harambe's power scaling.
Dude.
So, we were talking about a bunch of pre-recorded topics when 100 men versus 1 gorilla came about. I think we still worked it into one of the episodes.
Yeah, I think we worked it into episode 32. No, it might have been 32 because we were making the jokes about the 100 men versus 1 gorilla thing during the Minecraft movie release.
That's fair.
Well,
Anyway.
are we just going straight to the question?
I mean, I could bring up the question, but first, let's try to set the stage, all right?
Okay, the normal one.
So, Harambe. What do you think Harambe loses to?
A hippopotamus.
Okay, Harambe loses to Hippo.
A melted
Harambe-
sniper that's trying to save a kid.
Harambe Harambe loses to hippos and snipers. Got it. Okay, I feel like both are kind of stomps. What's like a closer, like a high diff?
A grizzly bear.
Okay. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Reference.
Reference.
2 buff circus men.
Okay, 2 strong men.
Yes.
Mike Tyson.
Just 2 of them.
I don't know about that. I feel like Harambe...
They have nothing but their big bulging pectorals and
I
massive
feel like
biceps.
Harambe might beat 2 strong men from the circus. I don't know about that, though.
Mike Tyson in the 90s.
I think Mike Tyson in the 90s loses a boxing match to Harambe. I'm sorry.
1 million SpongeBobs.
Okay, we're...
One.
That's
SpongeBob.
definitely...
1 billion SpongeBobs or 1 Goku.
That's definitely scarier than the sniper.
Yeah.
A single dude with a 45 ACP.
Okay, so Harambe loses to people with firearms.
Yeah, but just like 1 dude. And it's not even like a super high caliber.
Bears, I guess, and other things. Okay.
Spence, you look confuzzled. Are you
What,
okay?
what does Harambe win to?
What does Harambe win to? A child.
No, he still lost. The child's still around, that bastard.
The 2 murderous, crazy people that killed Zippo Cat.
Dude, we set them up together.
Harambe.
That's actually a show. I would pay to see that.
Harambe
I feel like
versus-
that's illegal. That'd be on Live Leak or some shit.
Yeah, I'm okay with that though.
I'm okay with that.
Pedophiles and rapists,
That's some shit.
but only one at a time, and then we pay to watch it.
That's some shit Elon Musk would do, or like Jeff Bezos. Just get like an arena, put like a gorilla, and then some people he really fucking hates in there.
So wait, Bezos and
We need to bring
Musk
back
will
gladiator
bring
rings.
back the idea of the Colosseum.
Yeah,
be
but only
awesome.
for people they hate, and probably not. I'm just saying, like, somebody with infinite money would probably think to do that, and they could probably afford to get away with it. This topic got very out of hand.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Trevor, do
Let's
you want
just
to...
agree
Look
that
down.
100 men kill 1 gorilla.
For sure.
10 men kill 100. Sorry, not 100 gorillas. 10 men kill 1 gorilla.
Probably, yeah, for sure.
Where's the minimum? I think it's probably 7,
Okay,
6, maybe.
so
If they're fit.
6 dudes with spears kill a mammoth.
Yeah.
Okay, but
so
this
they
is no-
easily kill a gorilla.
But no spears.
Yeah,
This
so
is
6...
all fist fight.
Would
Yeah,
you rather
but
have unlimited
mammoths
spears,
are
but no
bigger and
spears?
scarier than gorillas by like 100.
I know, but still.
so
But
so
no,
6
no weapons.
6 men unarmed take a gorilla, no problem. Maybe 2 of them die to crippling
Probably.
injuries, but
They take it out.
yeah, for sure.
Well,
All right.
Okay, now 1,000 men versus one T-Rex. That's one I kept seeing pop up.
Is this
Specifically
just another
the
fist
meme?
fight?
I don't know. The only context I saw for this was POV. The winning guy waking up from the 100 men versus one gorilla challenge in the arena for the 1,000 men versus T-Rex challenge. And it's just a clip of the one guy from Squid Game 1 waking up in Squid Game 2.
I've played these games before.
Yeah, I've played these games before.
I don't.
1,000 men beat a fucking big lizard. 100 men beat a big lizard. 20 beat a big lizard.
I would,
20
I
men
would
with spears.
disagree.
20 men with spears beat a T-Rex.
Okay, with
yeah.
spears, yes. Without spears, no.
50 men beat a T-Rex. No
With or with-
spears.
No.
Yeah,
No
they do.
spears.
No.
Yeah, they
50
do.
men.
No.
50.
Spence, I think you're underestimating how much that is. That weighs more than the T-Rex. Like the amount of
Well,
people.
yes, but are they going to amalgamate themselves
Some
into
of
the
them are gonna
fucking
climb up on
wheelchair
the
mech from Family
Okay.
Guy?
I am the oldest of 5. I have lost a fight to 2 people half my size.
Spence, they're going to
Okay,
climb
but
up on that
T-Rex is-
fucker's legs. Some of them are going to get squished in the process, whatever. They're going to climb up. They're going to get up to its fucking head. They're going to jab its fucking eyes out with their fingers. They're going to fucking bludgeon its skull. They're going to get into every orifice they can, and they're going to fucking pull and rip. And they're going to fucking shred its head apart.
Have you seen how small their arms are? T-Rexes aren't mobile enough, nor do they possess the, dexterity ligaments to fight off creatures that small. Because there weren't any creatures that small trying to
Exactly.
fight the T-Rex at that
The
point.
motherfuckers are spec to eat big ass things. This dude's gonna eat like 6 dudes. Okay? He's gonna eat 4 dudes. He's gonna stomp on like 3 of them. And then at that point, there's too many on his head. He's done. He's blind. He's deaf. There's some of them ripping out his teeth, and then he's done.
I don't actually know if the T-Rex can eat humans without him choking on it. He evolved to eat bigger prey than that. So if he went to eat humans, and because he's a reptile and they don't chew, remember they tear.
Yes.
But we're small enough that he can't really tear, so he'd probably swallow us whole. Enough of us would probably try to climb out of the T-Rex that he would choke. I don't think the T-Rex has a win con.
Outside of stomping, that fucker's fat.
Would he think to do that? Its brain was the size of a chestnut, my guy.
Okay, but there's gonna be some poor Darwin Award winners that managed to get themselves snubbed out by that fucker's feet.
That's fair.
That's what I got, though. 50 men beat a T-Rex unarmed.
You know what a wild statistic I think about is?
What?
Orangutans have an average IQ test that lands them somewhere in the 50 to high 60 range.
Yes.
Which means that a smart orangutan is smarter than a really dumb human.
There are humans that dumb.
There are humans out there without any mental disorders that are
Normal
dumber
people.
than orangutans.
I'm right here, bro. Put me up against an orangutan, bro. I'm gonna lose.
I don't mean in a fist fight. You gonna lose chess to an orangutan?
That scary block puzzle game. Hey, just see the square hole, and it's like, dude, all of them fit in there.
What about the triangle?
I see him
That's
take the
right,
triangle,
the
and it goes in the
square
triangle
hole.
hole, and it's like, and I'm like, what the hell?
Now, one that's actually interesting.
One.
A D&D dragon.
Okay.
A D&D dragon, no amount of unarmed, untrained
absolutely
humans
not.
beat it.
It just flies.
0 amount. It flies. It's
breath weapons
indestructible.
them.
It breathes on
massive
them.
AoE.
It's really smart.
One-
It's really smart and indestructible
One-
and comes with a ranged attack.
1 billion humans versus 1 dragon.
The dragon wins every time.
1 billion humans.
Every time the dragon wins.
That's a lot of humans. I give it to the 1 billion humans. Versus 1 dragon.
One ancient red dragon beats 1 billion humans.
You know what?
Red dragon.
1
If
Harambe.
they're untrained and unarmed.
1 Harambe versus 100 Zippo cats.
Now we get to the question.
We
One
had to.
Harambe versus 100
How
Zippo
flammable
cats.
is Harambe?
Quite.
So, Trev and I talked about this on the way to work today,
We wept.
Yeah.
and we wept. But the
Rip
conclusion
Zippo
we
cat.
got to...
No exceptions.
Rip Zippo Cat. But the conclusion we got to is Zippo cat, like every other cat, isn't a pack hunter. So like 100, 1,000 of them, it doesn't really matter because cats don't know how to coordinate, and the gorilla just no diffs the
Unless we're
uncoordinated
talking about an
assault.
ungodly amount.
Yeah, like obviously a billion cats probably drowns him by accident, right?
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, if you lit them on fire and locked them in an arena, Harambe loses to the death throes of 100 flaming cats.
100 actual Zippo cats.
Dear God.
How many Zippo cats, on fire Zippo cats, does it take? Does it have to be 100? Could it be like 50 Zippo cats?
50 wins, yeah.
Could it be like 20?
I think 20 wins.
Really, it's just one that has to set him on fire.
Well,
but the problem is Harambe runs away from them.
Harambe's not very flammable. That's why the arena has to be small, right?
Right.
So, like, if the arena's too big, it doesn't matter.
We're talking about essentially a Thunderdome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, cage match Harambe versus 20 flaming cats, he's either dying or walking away with enough burns that he doesn't want to live anymore.
It's fair. Yeah, if he's stuck in an enclosed space with the Zippo cats, quote unquote win. They're also it's a draw.
I guess.
Oh my god,
it's a draw. Humans are awful to animals. It's a draw.
No
we
one
won
really
the Animal
wins in this
Cruelty Award.
situation.
Somebody call
my
PETA.
God. Great. I'm
Zippo-
glad we figured it out.
Zippo Cat versus Harambe, sponsored by PETA.
Busting the greatest questions man has asked.
Now, how
many animals can we torture for fun?
how much of a human could we replace with a robot so that they wouldn't set Zippo Cat on fire?
Some people are colder than the machines we could create.
Indeed. I have one more topic that, Trevor, you wanted to talk about.
Is this the,
Yeah, I just have a bunch of random swirly scribbles. I think it doesn't have any words in cursive on it, but it feels like it's hinting to me something vaguely medical.
Oh yeah, that's my order for paracetamol.
Huh.
Bless you.
Yeah, that's my doctor's signature, actually.
I feel like your doctor needs a better signature.
Actually, they all write like that.
Really?
Yeah, like
Wow, how could this be?
like a person with a severe hand tremor. It seems like it runs through all of them. It's like when you pick up the occupation, you just have the sudden urge to shake your hands around whenever you feel like signing something even with a modicum of importance.
I wonder, I want this to be like in a sitcom or like an animated show where like the joke is medical school is brutal and people are studying, right? But there's one class they all look forward to, and it's called like penmanship lessons.
and the fucking teacher's like, I don't know, do something.
No, and the teacher's just like, slop here, faster!
Dude, oh my god, they need an episode of House like that.
An episode of House.
I need
where
a
he
House
teaches them,
menacingly standing over like a trainee, going, "No, it needs to be worse. It needs
I
to be
can
worse.
still read that, motherfucker.
It's never lupus. Don't write it like that.
It's never lupus, but you need more loops.
You need more.
No, it needs more rat bites.
It's need more mouse bites. Oh, you haven't seen the video, have you?
Anyway, but no,
I tried the medicine drug. Only stupid people try the medicine drug. You are stupid.
Anyway,
to answer your question on why their handwriting looks so bad, it's not because they're just really horrible at writing. It's basically like shorthand.
Yeah, it's their lack of care. Why
No.
couldn't you take a couple of extra seconds to make it look fucking legible?
There is a writing system for doctors to
Yeah, hieroglyphs. They take their fucking notes from Cleopatra.
like how you can. I've seen someone take a picture of a signature.
you take that name out your motherfucking mouth. She spoke more than 10 languages.
That's fair. I'm talking about her handwriting.
She wrote more than 10 languages.
You know what? It was probably better than how doctors write today.
It probably was. She was an incredibly intelligent woman.
I'm not saying doctors aren't intelligent. They're some of the greatest minds we have. The problem is they all have tremors.
Well, you let Spence finish his
I'm
point.
so sorry, Spence. You go ahead.
Oh, you're good. Basically, it's shorthand. The scribbles represent certain main prescription drugs. Like there's a certain. You good?
No.
What, Trevor, are you going to make a comment on how you're short, so your hand is always short?
No,
and it doesn't
no, no,
affect
no, no,
your
no, no, no,
handwriting at all?
fuck No. How does that make any fucking sense as I, the receiver of the medication, don't understand this secret thieves can't? Doctors can't. Doctors can't what? Fucking right, apparently.
Well,
It's a
for
cipher.
for one
It's a
thing,
cipher.
it's to prevent people from prescribing shit to themselves.
Oh,
Yeah, that's actually fair, because like
that kind of makes sense,
if you're
actually.
given
because-
a note and it's in like doctors can't, right?
That's real.
And you take it to the pharmacist can read it and knows exactly what to give you. But if you take a doctor's note and in like perfect print it says
Medicine
opioids, opium, they'll be
I'll
like,
be like, huh.
really? The doctor wrote that? Really?
Because it's surprisingly easy to get doctors, like the papers that they give you to give to the pharmacist. It's surprisingly easy to get those. The issue is writing the order down. That's why they have such shitty writing, is so that it's harder to replicate and you don't know exactly what they're writing.
And their signature's a really specific swirl too. So if you're trying to fake it, the pharmacist is gonna know.
Exactly.
That's fair.
So it's not necessarily because they have shitty writing. It's basically to make sure that you don't try to.
Most signatures are unique anyway.
Well,
It's
yeah.
just the matter of that's a little too unique. You know what I mean?
No,
No.
I don't. Trevor, are you about to sit here and criticize something for being too unique?
Yes. What are you implying?
Nothing.
Anyway, in the world of possibly people abusing
You calling
pharmaceutical
me sped?
drugs,
Look
it's
at me.
I'm paying attention to Spencer's point.
it's a secondary defense on making sure that they don't abuse those. Basically,
Yeah, that makes sense.
simply put.
Yeah. So, that's my line. Thank you.
Sorry.
No
Simply put.
exceptions.
Yeah. Rip Zippo Cat.
Reciprocat.
Rip Zippocat. Rip Harambe. Doctor's handwriting is just thieves can't. No
Yeah,
exceptions.
doctors can't.
I think
Doctors can't. No exceptions.
We'll coin that term. Doctors can't.
That's the new. That's the 101st rule of the internet. Doctors can't.
We're
no
gonna,
exceptions.
yeah, we're gonna add that to the bottom. This is actually an extension of the last episode.
You know, for us trying to reclaim our what was it?
Calm marbles.
To calm our marbles and to reclaim our marbles.
I've still lost mine.
I think we still lost our marbles.
I'm sorry. I think I'm in a very healthy place right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you cyborg?
No,
How
he's
mu-
calm.
How much robot are you?
He's calm.
I'll
But I
never
thought you
tell.
were meant to be calm.
No, I'm calm. He's marbles.
I'll never tell.
Then what am I?
I'll never tell.
Oh.
I'll never tell.
Anyway,
I'll never tell.
do we have anything more for this?
I'll never tell.
I'm gonna sign off on here with a really shitty signature that no one can read except for licensed pharmacists.
I'll never tell.
Anyway, thank you all for listening and good night.
I'll
Bye,
never
guys.
tell.
Bye.